Hate the small talk. Two things I can't do: small talk and eye contact. How sad is that, you know? I basically have all the traits of a serial killer, just without the ambition. I'm working on it. People always say, Mark, gotta be more confident. They say, Mark, gotta be yourself. I'm like, well, you gotta pick one. I can't do both of those.
This is the story of that guy. One of the world's, if not the world's, most underrated stand-up comedian, Mark Normand. Mark was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, a place that is best known for voodoo, Popeye's chicken, and public intoxication. Some people love it, some people hate it. And then there's Tom Segura.
I support building a wall if it's around the state of Louisiana, because those people are out of their fucking minds. You fucking swamp people, we don't need you. What are we gonna miss out on? Where you gonna get your shrimp? Oh. What a contribution.
Don't worry though, Tom and Mark are good friends. And everybody knows that you can say whatever you want about whatever group you want, as long as you have a friend that identifies as part of that group.
I can't tell if you're joking or not.
But Mark wasn't like his fellow statesmen. He didn't grow up hunting the world's rapiest bills. Close, but I meant duckbills. Seriously, look into it.
I was in the city, and it was terrifying. It was a rough and tumble city when I was there. My dad got a wild hair up his ass and bought a dilapidated mansion in a poor black neighborhood. And, you know, like no running water for a while. He turned the back half into a bed and breakfast because we ran out of money. It was a crazy. We got robbed all the time because we were the white family in the neighborhood, and everybody thought we had money because of our big house. I walked in on a couple robberies as a kid. My alarm would go off at like 2 a.m. as like an 8-year-old. You just know there's a guy in your living room scrapping around. I think that's why I'm so squirrely, because that really fucked with me.
Mark's parents worked around the clock in order to keep their oversized, under-maintained roof over their heads. So most of Mark's childhood was spent being raised by Enos, his trans nanny. Sorry for the aggressive enunciation, I just don't want a Twitter mob wishing death upon me for an accidental play on words.
Enos was like my male role model. You know, this big black guy in a wig. And one time I was riding home from summer camp, and, you know, these 3 street toughs, you know, were coming up next to me, 3 of them, like, hey, man, let us try your bike. And I was like, I'm good. You know, I knew what they wanted. And I was like, I'm good. No, thank you. And they're like, come on. They're doing their back tire or their front tire against my back. You know, that move, starting to skid me out a little bit. So I go, all right. And these kids are 17. I'm probably like 13. And they're like, all right, let me just try it. So I remember I kept my hand on the handle, and he got on it, and he's like, and he just brushed my hand away and just went, check ya, and rode off. And I was like, gah. So I ran home crying. And I got there, and Enos was like, what happened? I'm like, a couple of kids took my bike, and it was like the 4th time. So he was like, fuck that. Get in the van. I'm like, I'm good. You know, I'm so defeated. You know, it's so emasculating. You feel like a bitch. So I was like, I'm good. He's like, get in the van. We had a big van. And we're driving around the neighborhood looking for my bike. I don't want to see these guys again. I just want to let it go. And he's like, we're going to find that bike. We're driving around, and we go some back streets, and we see these kids on a stoop, like, taking it apart, you know, because you got to camouflage it a little. So I'm like, and he's like, is that your bike? I'm like, yeah. I'm slunched down in shotgun. Like, yeah, it's my bike. Let's just get out of here. Fuck it. Abort. And he goes up to these guys. He walks up to these guys, and he's wearing high heels, a wig, and like a V-neck, and he looks weird. It's the 90s. And he goes up to these guys, and they're all going, they all lose it, because they're like, look at this fucking fag. They're all going crazy, and they're flipping out and calling him names and stuff. And this guy was stone cold, and he goes, that's not your bike. And they go, what are you going to do about it? And this is like 5 kids with tools, you know? And he goes, I'm going to take it back. And they were like, I don't think you are, or whatever. And I remember he put his hand on the middle bar of the bike just to kind of see what would happen. Looked him in the eye, yanked it, and he said, that's what I thought. Threw the bike over his shoulder, walked to the van, slid the door open, threw it in, closed the door, we drove home. I mean, talk about a 13-year-old seeing like, that's like, oh, that's what a man is. That changed my life. Because, you know, when you're a kid and you see these bully types, you're just like, I could never beat them.
Yeah.
And then to see someone beat them was so, it was mind-boggling. I loved him ever since then. I mean, I loved him before, but he was a good egg, and I needed him growing up because I had no parents around, you know?
Wow.
My parents are weird. I don't know if you noticed, but I can't make eye contact. I've been doing it pretty good, but yeah, I don't know how to connect. But that Enos stuff was great.
After realizing that life has more to offer than shrimp, gators, and getting robbed, Mark decided to chase his dreams and head to the Big Apple with nothing but $400 in his pocket to study at the New York Film Academy. Although, despite what Hallmark tries to tell us, chasing dreams isn't all glitter, gold, and red carpets. So the next year of Mark's life was pretty tough.
It was a horrible year. I got mugged 3 times in a year. My landlord died of AIDS, and the first day I got my apartment, there was a pigeon in there. Yeah. Probably should have closed with the AIDS. But yeah.
Although a squatting, squawking shithawk wasn't the worst thing about that apartment.
So, I lived in this apartment, the worst apartment of all time. Periodically, the hot water would go out, the electricity would go out, and the heat would go out. It was the dead of winter. So I'm going to film school every day. It's like an hour commute back to Manhattan every day from my apartment. And I wake up on Monday to go to school, no hot water. I was like, I didn't shower all weekend, but I can go one more day. It's cold out, you know? I go to school. Tuesday I wake up, no hot water. I can't take a shower in cold weather with cold water. I'll just go to school. Wednesday rolls around. No hot water. I'll be all right. Now I'm the smelly guy at school, you know? It was brutal. I was that guy, you know? So I'm kind of getting desperate. Thursday comes, 0. No hot water. Nothing. No heat. It's like, but I'm late, so I just go to school. Finally, Friday, I get desperate. I wake up early. I'm like, I'm putting water in a pot. I'm going to boil it. And I'm going to just take a whore bath right in the kitchen, you know? Yeah. So the heat's out, the electricity's out, and the hot water is out. So I just go, God damn it. So I'm in the kitchen in the dark, just pouring water into a pot. I start boiling it, you know, and in the dark, and I just kind of start bathing myself. It felt amazing. I was so gross. And the lights click on just then, and the pot had been used by my roommate to cook stovetop stuffing in the night before. So now, not only do I have terrible BO, I'm covered in 11 herbs and spices, you know? I got all these little things on me, little green things and garlic here. It was a mess.
After every classmate refused to provide Mark with access to warm water, he was left with one option: to ask his teacher, Miss Fritz, who actually said she would be more than happy to allow Mark to rid his body of the scent of stuffing, but under one condition: that he is out the door at 8 p.m. so as not to interrupt her dinner party. Mark accepted these conditions and showed up at Miss Fritz's place later that evening.
She goes, I'm making some paella here. She had like 8 pots going, all this food. I'm like, well, I got to skedaddle here, sister. I can't be eating. You got dinner party coming over, you know? She was like, don't worry about it. You got plenty of time. It's like 7 o'clock. Like, all right, so I have the paella. It's amazing, unbelievable, so good. Everything's great. We're laughing. She pours another glass of wine. And I was like, look, it's 7:30. I got to get in the shower. And she goes, all right. And she had everything in there, like soap. And so then unbelievable, real adult. So I'm like, oh, wow, this is great. All right. So I remember, laughing. She hands me a towel. We're having a great time. She's so nice. And I remember taking a shower, being in her bathroom, just like, am I gonna fuck Miss Fritz? No, come on. She's a 58-year-old woman. What are you, crazy? Get out of here. She's got a dinner party on the way over. So I was like, all right, come on. So I get out of the shower. I dry off real quick. It's like 7:48 now. I'm freaking out. So I get out of the shower. I'm like, all right, that was great. I put my new clothes on. I'll get out of your hair. This was a great time. She goes, well, have one more glass of wine. I'm like, Mrs. Fritz, you got people coming over. This is at the dinner party. And she goes, it's fine. So she does another glass of wine poured. And she goes, let me give you the tour of the house before you go. I was like, all right, yeah, you guys know I didn't know what tour meant. So I was like, all right, sure, I'll take a tour. Yeah, I'm holding my glass of wine. She's like, this chair's been in my family for 1,000,000 years. This lamp is from the Byzantine era, whatever, all this shit. And she's like, this painting has been in my family for years. Come get on the couch, step on the couch. So we're standing on her couch, look at this painting. And, I was like, this is nice. She's like, yeah, it's Rembrandt's gay period or whatever. And staring at this thing, and we were like face to face right here, and she was like, yeah, this is, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, it's really pretty. And then she looks me right in the eye, and I swear to God, she says, I want you to come in my face. True story. Unbelievable.
But Mark, being the shy, insecure hero that he is, felt the need to do the right thing. So he came on her face. After years of grinding out shitty open mics and shitty road gigs, Mark can now afford an apartment in New York City with working lights by gracing stages worldwide.
I like a gay area. Gay guys are the best. Progressive, non-violent. You never meet any violent gay guys. There's no gay gangs. That would just be a musical. Any gay guys here tonight? Yeah. Hey, all right. Thanks for coming out. Big fan. One of my best friends is gay. He's obsessed with straight guys. That's like his thing, you know? He's like, I love flipping a hetero. He's like, you know how hard that is? You know how hard it is to go out every night, see a bunch of people you want to have sex with who don't want to have sex with you? I was like, that's exactly what it's like being a straight guy. What the hell are you talking about? I would argue it's just hard for me to sleep with a woman as for you to flip a hetero. He was like, nah, you have no idea. You got to take him out for hours, convince him. Yeah, same here. He's like, no, even if you do pull it off, which is like a miracle, they feel horrible after. Yeah, same thing. We went back and forth for hours, arguing about this all night, back and forth. Eventually, I woke up at his place.
You can now even catch Mark on America's most decorated, most celebrated news station, New Day Cleveland.
Yeah, I've been farting it up in the green room, and I think I scared.
That's why the door was shut.
Yeah.
To our little smaller green room.
Exactly.
You were just trying to be polite.
We call it hot boxing. Really soaking it all in, because the smell of your own farts, for some reason, is enjoyable. If you farted, it'd be weird. But if I fart, I enjoy it. I don't know why.
Is that a guy thing?
Maybe.
Because I feel like you would hear no woman would ever say something like that.
No, you guys are more of maybe a queefing.
Oh my gosh.
But,
okay. Well,
is that clean?
That's
a
we're
technical
10
term.
a.m. TV. I mean, you know.
Oh, sorry, 10 a.m. You know, you've up, you had your coffee, your meth, or who knows what. So, yeah, we're all adults here.
I can't speak on Mark's behalf, but I'd imagine that being recognized by the comedian community as, quote, the best young up-and-coming comic that we should keep our eyes on, in the words of Jerry Seinfeld, has made his borderline homelessness and elderly sexcapades worth it in the long run. Mark's relentless pursuit of his dreams and profound ability to transform his insecurities, suffering, and struggles into humor, which he then uses as a tool to enhance the lives of those around him, earns Mark the title of hero in my book. So Mark, if by any chance you see this video, and maybe anybody watching can help by tagging @MarkNorman below, I'd like to thank you for being the true definition of a hero by injecting honesty, humility, and most of all, humor into our politically correct, narcissistic society.